You know what
No,
I'm saying?
definitely a relief, man. Trust me, I understand it because I mean I signed after my junior the summer after my junior year also. So
Seriously.
my senior year, right, I had already passed the SAT and all that. So my senior year, I'm
Mhm.
strictly just hooping,
What
right?
made you choose Duke?
What made me choose Duke? That's always I grew up a big Duke fan.
Yeah,
I always wanted to, you know what I'm saying? That was my dream school. So when I finally got
seriously.
the official call that I was the guy that they was that they wanted to recruit, that they wanted to get out the
That's
scholarship to,
crazy.
yeah, it was. Oh, that's all I
What
need
you
to hear.
do? Where you was when you got the call?
I was at the house. I was at the house. I had literally, the story goes like this. I had literally just talked to Kansas 2 days before.
That's crazy.
At the
They're
time,
like,
Kansas had Roy Williams was at Kansas, and I was a big fan of Kansas, and I liked what they had going on. He called me, gave me the whole rundown. Like, you a guy we trying to get to match up. They had already signed two guys in my class, but at different positions. He's
mm,
like, this would be a hell of a, we get you to match up with. At the time, they had Aaron Miles and Wayne Simeon.
oh my
So he's like,
God.
man, you the third piece to what we're trying to build here. And
What's
I was like, Coach, I was like, I'm down. I was like, let's set up the visit in the fall, right? Mind you, this is the summertime. I was like, let's set up the visit for me to come visit in the fall. I'm there, right? He was like, that sounds great. That sounds great. I'll be in contact soon, right? 2 days later, get a phone call. Daniel, this is Coach K. How you doing? I'm like, I'm good, Coach. And so he was like, yeah, man, we've been watching you all summer. I think the time is now. You're our guy. We want to offer you the scholarship. It's yours. You're the guy you're the guy we need. And I was like, where can I sign? On the phone, I was like, I'm there. I'm committed. Where can I sign? So that's how my story went with
Are
Duke.
you serious?
On
Did
the
you do any
phone,
visits?
the only visit I took was to Duke University. Now, if I could go, that's one thing. If I could go back and do things over again, I would go take 2 or 3 more visits, right? Just to see, to have a comparing
That's
contract.
how, yeah.
And once I got that call, like I said, that was my dream school. That's what I had been working for up until that point, my whole life. To be, you know what I'm saying? To go to Duke, right? And of course,
Wow.
because of the stuff I accomplished in high school, all the other schools was going to come along, along the way. But the school
Yeah.
I was really waiting to hear from was Duke. And so, man, that's how that went.
Dude, you got everything out the game.
That's how that went, man.
McDonald's or what? How you felt with the McDonald's?
Man, another dream come true, right? Right? Because like
What
for me,
what what was y'all thinking? Especially you and TJ, cause I know how close y'all. What was y'all like? Or y'all just calling each other like you get your call, like?
well,
Cause
we
I
was
know, and then
we,
back then ABCD was crazy.
right. So we was together every day, all day, right? Mind you, we played in the same high school team. Yuri was picking us up every day, you know what I'm saying, in the summertime to go work. You know what I'm saying? So we was together all day, every day, right? So yeah, I mean, we would have conversations, but it wasn't like we wasn't really. It's not like we was hiding stuff from each other, but our experiences was a lot different. Because I'm getting recruited by all the elite schools,
Mm.
right? And he's getting recruited by like the second tier elite schools, not because he's not good enough, just
Yeah,
because at that time, no, not at that time, the college basketball landscape, guys were staying in school 3 or 4 years. So the teams at the elite level had their point guards already in play. And
uh,
like yourself, right? TJ knew he wanted to go to school and play right away. Like he wanted the ball in his hands right away. So you wasn't gonna get that at Duke. Duke had Jay Will and Chris Duhon, right? You wouldn't
did
get
he
that.
ever think about going to Duke?
He, I
Like,
mean, that's what I'm saying. The schools like that, and they recruit him, right? So there was really no package deal for me and him. Like everybody thought that the whole time, like TJ and Daniel is a package.
yeah, I for sure thought you was, yeah.
They going to school together. It was never a real situation where we could have went to school together. Like not even when he chose Texas, they only had one scholarship. So
Was you
right,
in the
they
Texas?
needed a point guard. So they couldn't recruit. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't recruit me, even though I wasn't going there anyway. But they couldn't even recruit me because they only had one scholarship that year.
Y'all killed it. Y'all killed it, bro.
Yeah.
Like
So,
from the McDonald's to that's
but
crazy.
the McDonald thing was real crazy, man. Because that was real crazy just to know that, especially because we two kids from Texas. Texas, Texas not known for having hoopers, right? So we go to the same high school. You know what I'm saying? So for both of us to make it, that was history. I think that was the first time at that time, two kids from the same high school at making
Nah,
it.
it is history because it's legit. You know, it ain't no we changed the world to get to this school like this. Y'all just so happen to do it legit, and that's insane, bro. I swear y'all have to. I'm gonna look in trying to do a documentary because I have a production company that we started. So I gotta
Yeah,
figure
man.
out.
We got to figure out. Yeah, we've been talking about it for the last couple of years, man. We got to
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean,
after
obviously
watching this
y'all
Last
financially.
Dance. You know, that really got it. Like, oh man, like we got to figure out
Do
something.
y'all have like
Oh, I got all the footage, bro.
for real?
I got, especially for my junior senior year. Matter of fact, I got sophomore year too. I got VHS, I got camcorder tapes, I got everything you need. Only thing I don't have is one of the state championship games. But we got
Everybody's still walking.
everybody. Yep, we got the footage. We just got
And you got the characters.
Yeah.
They haven't did anything on y'all?
Like I said, we didn't come up in that era where, you know what I'm saying?
Oh man, I'm about to put that on my board.
We didn't come up in that era where, you know what I'm saying, where we like had we came up in the era where like the initial, even the beginning stages of like YouTube and all that, it would be a lot different. But that's why we got to do it though, because people need to really know how it went down. And
I'll put on the show. I was talking to KT. He said when that situation happened at Baylor, he said TJ was like he gonna leave, so give him the scholarship. And so that was crazy to me on how that worked out. Y'all kind of was all that was crazy.
But looking back on it now, right?
Mm-hmm.
KT went to Baylor. Now, mind you, if we was in today's era, it would have been set up a lot different. But just think about how it happened, and we wasn't in the era of social media and all that. KT went to Baylor, TJ went to Texas, and Ivan was already at Oklahoma State. That's all there, right?
Yeah. I'm
getting recruited by Kansas, but I didn't go.
All would have been in Big 12.
All would have been, you know what I'm saying?
Y'all was crazy. That's what I'm telling you. Like, I'm gonna ask some people. I've been working with some directors right now. I got like 4 scripts on my wall right now for some of the stuff I'm doing, and I know I'm gonna try to pitch it. And I know, and I've talked to. Oh my God, I've talked to Slam. Oh man.
I mean, like I said,
they're doing so. Basically, they did Stephon Marbury. Oh my God.
Yeah, that
one intermission. I gotta write this.
That'll be yeah, man. Like I said, we've been talking about it, bro. We've been kind of dragging our feet, but we've talked about it for sure. And like I said, we got what we need as far as footage. You know, like I said, Sam was around when we was in school, and me and TJ both.
But I think it's possible because if they pull Stephon Marbury's project, we should definitely be able to pull y'all project.
And yeah, and I think the story. Not saying but our story is because it's not just about me and TJ.
Nah, no, I know, but I'm saying like I'm just thinking because they just did Stephon's story, so which y'all got way more characters in, and see if just so happen if y'all did a scripted series, you can do spinoffs from your view. It's more money in scripted series, but your view would be different. Like TJ be talking about McDonald's, and then they'll do a view on yours, or how he went to Baylor, KT went to Baylor, or some homie on the bench, how he viewed you guys. Right, you know what I'm saying? It'll go. It's so many ways. But I just been learning because I've been having to do a lot of stuff through that. But yeah, y'all got a crazy story. I think y'all can do it because y'all got so many characters that's around right now, and I think Slam would be a good piece for y'all because I know Kevin Durant executive producing. Y'all got so many people that'll put their name on it. Netflix will take that like that.
Yeah, we just gotta. I think it'd be dope. We get it right, man. Like I said, we got everything we need to do it. We just gotta get the pieces
together.
Put it together.
Yeah. But yeah, my bad. I'm more fascinated with y'all.
Nah,
I got it because it's crazy.
So man, so now you've taken care of business. Mm-hmm. You got stability in your life, better stability in your life. You passed your SAT. You've been able to get recruited and actually extend your recruitment because you said you was before your performance and that one summer you was only like a D2, D3 type of player considered.
Yeah.
But you have this breakout summer. Your recruitment goes crazy. You get better offers, D1 offers. You take your SAT, you get a 1250, which would have been allowed you to go to just about any school you wanted to, based on academically. And you choose San Diego because you felt like that was a place you can go right away. You like the vibes, the coaching staff, and it's California, right?
Yeah,
It's
California.
California living.
Tupac was still. I don't know if Tupac is still living.
It's the West Coast, right? It's
Yeah,
California living. Your freshman year, man, you have a breakout freshman year.
yeah, yeah.
You have
Shocking.
you have a breakout freshman year at the college level. You was the freshman of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Freshman of the year.
I made freshman All-American team, and then College Insider ranked me top 25 players in the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
and it was shocking. It was shocking because I wasn't thinking that publicity would get over to that school, and then even up to that point, man, it was. I mean, basketball was amazing, but to get to that point, like it was a culture shock my freshman year. I hadn't been around a different race my whole life.
I was gonna ask you about that, man. Like you've never really been away from home. You know, you travel with AAU, but you never really, and you go to the left.
way out there. It's different. It was different for me. I think the homeless side of things, I've never felt alone because I was in the city. But to go to another city, another state, and be alone is two different worlds. When I got there, I had 2 bags of clothes. And I remember one of the hardest parts for me when I knew I was alone was I didn't really understand what college was. I didn't have nobody sit down with me and say, this is how you get prepared and all that stuff. I just knew I played basketball. And I'm going there. They gave me a basketball scholarship, not an academic scholarship. I thought basketball. I'm so dumb at this moment. I thought basketball started in August. I didn't know you had to wait. I'm like, I'm thinking I'm coming straight to hoop because I got a TV in my mind. You know what I'm saying? So, but I get there, man, and I got 4 of the freshmen. We're doing summer school, and we got condos. Everybody get their own room, and I remember getting there, putting my clothes in the drawer. And after I'm done, I sit on the bed and I can hear all these families in the condos, and I'm listening. And all 4 of my teammates, they parents are bringing trailers and computers and bed sheets. You know, just think the smallest thing was bed sheets for me. I don't have that. I just got like a bed and drawers, and I put my 2 bags of clothes was like. 1 bag of clothes, like if I might shoot out one night, or and the rest was basketball stuff. So I'm listening, dude, and I think that moment I understood like, oh, this one's gonna be a long one, because I never felt alone completely because I was still in the city. But to be there and to understand, like, man, I understood like this. I thought next 4 years of your life about to go. Like you about to be alone. And I remember all my teammates sitting in there with their families, just hanging out, their siblings. They all got this college excitement of like, at the first day of school. Right. So everybody's loving it, excited, enjoying it, happy they baby going to college. Their aunties end up coming. They putting up posters, TVs, and all this stuff. And I'm listening to the chatter, and I just sat there and I remember saying, like, I just prayed, like, man, let me get through this. And which this moment will bring you back around. I remember my coaches came in there and they was like, you good? I was like, yeah. My family coming, they driving up, but I knew this was it for me. I flew in and they came in like trucks and trailers to bring their stuff. And I remember my coach TJ hit me. I was sitting on the bed. He hit me and he came back in when the other coaches left. He was like, come on. And he was a black coach. And he was the only black coach on the staff. And he was like, hey, I'm gonna take you over to Target, get you some stuff. He was like, you ain't gotta tell me. And I think he understood, like, oh, you poor. This is it for you. And you'll see down the line how that relationship grows, because my situation down the line is connected to that.
Right.
So
BJ, so you have this. Well, you didn't even know it at the time, but so you have your initial college experiences. You get there, you fly, like you say, you flew in. Same way I flew in.
But nobody's coming up.
Yeah, my parents didn't drive down. You know what I'm saying? And I had similar situation, right? I had a little bit more stuff with me, but similar situation where my other 2 roommates at the time, their families are all there giving them farewell. You know what I'm saying? They got their, you know what I'm saying? So I understand exactly where you're coming from, bro. But so you get there, it's your freshman year, you realize like stuff is different.
Yeah, culture shock.
Culturally, stuff is different for you now. Like you said, you're not familiar with these surroundings. You've never been around. You probably never. I'm not. You never been around this many white people before in your life.
Never in my life, and
Right.
it's all, and understand it's at the moment. We use two terms for our culture. You either black or you know, the N word, you know, to a certain degree. Sorry to say, but to a certain degree in our community, that kid could be black, and that kid, you know, you can feel the sense of another person. So it wasn't many of I by far was probably the only one with that kind of smell on me. You know, like I had a different DNA when I got there. You know, I did have my pants down. I had a grill. You know, you know, in Houston we wore our grills. So I'm coming, and then let me tell you something. I'm not knowing I'm signing to a Catholic school, a private school.
I was about to ask you that. Was San Diego a private school?
Yeah, it's a private school, and I'm
Oh,
not knowing the history of any of
right,
this.
right.
So,
Right.
and then this school is one of the richest schools in the country. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's a ridiculous amount of money. These kids are mad about Bentleys. You know what I'm saying? Like, so to be in that environment with all these rich people, and I'm there with mixed breeds. You know, either the mom or the dad is white, and it's nobody with my DNA. You know, and then that was the biggest thing for me, because I knew they didn't understand me and they don't understand my culture. And I was fascinating to them. It's like being overseas. Those kids watch YouTube and they're fascinated. They live through that. You know, in those private school kids, that's all they know is academics. They don't know this side of the world where I'm not here for this. And the kids that are here for basketball, they're also here for academics. I was here for basketball, never even thought of academics. So for that standpoint, I knew how far I was behind. I remember being in class the first day of school, and the teacher was like, "Who all read the books in the summer?" I'm like, I'm looking around because I know it really is. The teacher asked that, and you know, like, I'm like, I tapped the homie from my team. I'm like, she crazy, who reading? I'm like, man, everybody hit me. And right then I knew. I said, oh, I don't belong here. I was like, this is chaos. It's gonna be bad for me, but. Yeah, that first year, man, it was a struggle because obviously I didn't have no money. I'm sitting here with so many different types of people, man. It was just I was getting kicked out of every practice because they didn't understand my passion, you know. And not it wasn't a bad thing. It was just I'm a fighter, and my survival has been of being a fighter. I fought all the seniors due to basketball. I was just setting the tone, not even knowing. But I was a competitor. You know, I remember San Diego State coming up in the summer, and they came in there, Marcus Slaughter, Brandon Heat, Lorenzo Wade, Richie Williams. So they had a roster, you know, Coach Fisher over there at San Diego State, they like 15 minutes away, and they came there with that big boy attitude, like, y'all know what it is. And I was like, no, it's not going down like that no more. I'm going to set the tone. So when I got there, it was so much going on where it just got real for me. You know what I'm saying? So um, it was just an ultimate culture shock, man, where I had to change and do so many different things in order to survive that first year for me. You know, so um, like I said, I had never been in the room with any other race other than my own. So
How long did it take you that whole year to really
yeah,
get acclimated to not only to being a freshman, not only to being, you know, being at in college, but your culturally and your surroundings. Like San Diego is very nice, and I'm pretty sure
yeah.
the surrounding areas is pretty well. You know what I'm saying?
That's a
It
beautiful
looks
place.
a lot different than most city and Bright and Ridgemont.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, for sure. For me, that like I said, that was a long year, man. From me learning the coaches, from me learning how to deal with other players, from me having a mindset of what's lame and what's cool and what's gangster and what's accepted. I had to retrain my mind to understand, oh, it's okay to do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to be positive, okay to be led in certain situations. I think basketball helped me a lot. It brought who I was out. I remember I got a football bill, so at the beginning of the year, you know, all the ladies ain't really giving me no attention. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right. So when the basketball season come, my first home game against San Diego State, they hadn't beat them in forever, and I was just looking for that confidence moment. You know, we played 2 games on the road. I had 2 good games. I come home and I put on a show that night, and from there, it kind of set the tone for me for the rest of my career there, which obviously that gives you more confidence. It's nothing like people patting you on the back because they saw me for who I was. Beyond that room for academics, I'm a ball player, and I know y'all never witnessed nothing like me. and that's where I stood out. That's when I was the richest person on campus, on those nights,
Right.
and that set the tone for me. And like I say, my career and my future at that school, no matter what I was going through. Um, I had a good 5 to 6 months where I had everybody at my fingertips.
So man, like I said, you had a breakout freshman year. You
Mm.
freshman All American. You freshman of the year in your conference. You ranked in the country. According to different polls.
Mhm.
Um, man, your first 3 years, and you come back and you follow that up with a great sophomore year, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then your first 3 years though are phenomenal, right? You like freshman
Yeah.
year, like you going up every year.
Everything fine.
Yeah, you going up every year.
Yeah.
What are you thinking at this point? Like the NBA potential is real for you at this point.
I think I hadn't realized where I was. I remember in my freshman year, I was like, okay, I can hoop. My sophomore year, I was like, you cool. And then my junior year, I was leaving. I actually was leaving after my sophomore year because I just felt like my coaching staff got fired after my sophomore year. But they must have knew they was gonna get fired because they was putting teams on the schedule that we knew we could be at preseason. And I was like, hey, I think I can play. Once I realized I think I can play, I was like, hey, I'm a transfer. It's perfect time. And the coaching staff got fired. I'm gonna make my transition. That's when I got in conversation with Mississippi State, and I was gonna leave because I wanted to get on a schedule with big time teams, and this school wasn't doing it for me. And I remember coach. So I guess they realized if you can't beat them, you join them. They pulled the head assistant coach from Gonzaga and he became our head coach. And he sat down with me. It was like Bill Greer. He sat down with me and he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna give you the keys, and I got faith in you. I don't leave because I'm gonna change the program." And when that schedule came out, dude, it had Kentucky's, USC, and all these top teams on there, and that's what I had been waiting for. And we played OJ Mayo, and I remember him slapping the ground because I was killing that night, and he was slapping the ground, and it hit me like, "Oh, you think I'm good?" Because your coach is screaming at you to stop me, and now y'all doubling me. So in my mind, I'm saying, I just saw you in the slam with LeBron. If you respected my game, dude, after that game, it gave me so much confidence. And from there, it kept growing. And then we played Kentucky one night, and I had a crazy game in Kentucky. And from there, I was like, oh, I got a chance. The NBA hadn't clicked, but I was like, man, I can play. And then we played the conference tournament against Patty Mills, put Jeremy Pargo and all those guys, and I killed. Then we played UConn in March Madness. We went to the tournament for the first time, and we played UConn. We beat UConn and with the B, AJ Price, and then we played Western Kentucky.
This was your real coming out party.
Yeah, so that junior year, dude, it was just like, I'm official. And then I remember Calhoun going, he didn't shake our hands after the game. So he went back and wrote a letter to our school. And he was just like, Brandon Johnson can play on any team in this country and be starter. And he gave me like this unbelievable credit of watching me play. And he was like, he's definitely an NBA player. He signed off for it. And I remember probably about 3 weeks later, I was coming to the gym in Milwaukee, and them guys was at the gym. And I'm like, what? And I had saw Phoenix Suns and the Lakers because they would come up to our gym and practice. And from there, they start reaching out. And I was just like, dude, I think I'm going to go to the NBA. You know what I'm saying? So my senior year, dude, I was excited. Like you say, the first 3 years, it was a climb. And it was the most amazing moment. I remember sitting in clubs some moments, and it was running on ESPN, my highlights and games. And it was just crazy, dude. I was at the highest peak of my career. I was healthy. I felt great. I had finally understood, those 3 years, I got a place now. I understand what's going on the campus. I understand school, how to deal with, school, my education, my confidence and everything. Everything had hit right on time.
Right.
I promise you. Like, I couldn't predict a better junior year ever. I had took down a lot of powerhouses, and it was great. And then after that year, dude, that changed. That's my senior year, changed my life forever.
So, all right, let's get into that. So, all right, so these first 3 years, man, on a basketball court, everything looks like your life is perfect.
Yeah, I'm about to change. Oh, I also have my son doing that.
That's what I was about to ask you. So on the basketball court, everything, Brandon Johnson, life is perfect.
Oh man.
Personally, your first 3 years, like I said, you had that first year, you had to adjust and get culture shock, get used to, being in a different environment around different different races, and basically kind of like in a different social status.
Yeah.
And, so those next 3 years, are you more comfortable with yourself being in
Yeah.
San Diego?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I grew, I got around, and I'm a kid that absorbs, soaks up knowledge. So my teammates was a blessing. They didn't look down upon my education. They didn't make fun of me. Like I say, I think God always was strategic in what He put me around, because I know in our communities we tend to make fun of the person that's not smart. And I think my teammates understood, like, okay, you're not the smartest, but it's okay. You know what I'm saying? They didn't criticize me on it. They just kept working on it, and they kept teaching me random facts and things like that, and helping me grow from so many different standpoints. And off the court, dude, it was just, I was going through a lot off the court still, but I was also growing. I could feel sometimes you're going through certain things so other things can be deleted. And I think that was for me. I was still going through stages of not having financial support. I remember saving some of the money, sleeping on some of my teammates' couches so I can save some of the stipend money or some of the cash money the school would give me. That way I don't have to pay rent and things like that. So I was still fighting that, and that was the most sad part, because like I said, when I got to the gym, I was the richest person in the room. But when I leave this arena, I got to go back to that life. I hustled out there also. So like I say, it was certain moments, man. But God's blessed me with a mental capacity to be able to take it, digest it a certain way, put it in this category, and keep moving and keep a positive mindset and focusing on the process more than the storm. And during that time, when I left that gym, dude, I remember going up, where all the parents meet, all the teammates meet. It was always moments where it made me rethink certain things. And to be away that long, dude, with not one visit, it wasn't like I started killing. The NBA was coming in. My family was like, "Hey, we coming out there to support." It was none of that. It was just a one-man show to a certain extent. So that was always hard. I think being alone, completely knowing on holidays I don't have family. I'm staying in San Diego, through Christmas, Thanksgiving. My teammates or somebody might stay or say come up to LA or something. But overall, man, I did 5 years of college by myself. So
Wow, bro.
yeah, not one visit, and they made it seem like everybody in my family went to college. I was the first person. So the way it was handled, it was just weird to me. So through that time, like I said, you do 5 years, and I watch these kids as babies now. I coach AAU teams, and I see these kids 18, 19, 20. I'm just like, man, I remember being y'all age, and I was literally living, a lot of these kids was going to college. I'm not going to college. This is my home. This is just where they make me come up here, but this is my only place. This is everything I got. So a lot of these kids was able to focus on studies. I'm like, man, I got to eat. You know what I'm saying? So plus I got a son. So off the court, it got interesting every day. But on the court, man, I was $1 million man. And once basketball didn't go right, it exposed me.
So before we get into basketball taking a drastic turn the wrong way, so you have an amazing your junior year, you're NBA caliber player,
right?
High praise from Coach Calhoun. You say around this time your son is born, your firstborn son is born. Your decision to come back to school for your senior year, was it a hard decision, or was it?
It was. I don't know nothing. The educational side, the decision was going to be too big for me. I had to make every decision every time in my life, and I felt like
you didn't have the help to make the right decision.
Yeah. I was scared because I had built a life in San Diego, and And then I remember talking to my coach, and I think that year, that was his first year as a head coach, and you could imagine going to the tournament your first year. It looked like you was right, kind of like Steve Kerr situation, so for the fact they gave him a big contract, obviously, and I think that played a part on his comment, him saying, "Now come back," because we was young. I was a junior, the other guy was a junior, and we had 2 freshmen and a sophomore. So it looked good on paper, us all returning for my senior year. My stock could go up even more. And that sounded good to me. And then also in back of my mind, I'm scared. But, you find out you're supposed to go out when you're hot. And I think I forgot why I was there, and I was there for basketball. So I think I got more fascinated with the world of San Diego and forgot, hey, you here for basketball? Your time is up. You did your part, and that's taking them to the tournament. That's bringing the program. I didn't go to a program where it was built already. I broke every record at the school. So for me, I was scared during that moment because I didn't have nothing to fall back. It's easy to make a decision when your family's gonna catch you or you got blankets and pillows at the bottom of the fall. For me, if I make that decision and I don't go to the NBA, hey, I'm back in this jungle, So that definitely scared me. So I didn't make the decision to go to the NBA during that time.
All right, so just to put it in perspective for people, because we kind of talking, we're not talking real in depth about how good Brandon was, how good BJ was in college, man. Like you said, you just mentioned it, and it slipped my mind. It's in my notes, but you are you still the scoring leader for the school?
No, my scoring record, I'm number 2 in both. My scoring record and my assist record has been broken. I still hold steals, but the little trick part about it, I'm the first person ever in the WCC to ever lead the school in scoring, assists, and steals. So for us, the conference, I'm first ever in that. I don't think that can be removed, but I thought that was super dope because Steve Nash and Pargo, some of the players, Adam Morris, and some of these guys I respect, to lead the school and to leave my school with the scoring title and assists and steals. Those records can be broken, but I will always be number 1 in the WCC the first person ever to do it. And granted, the people that's broken my title, I remember the media called me. It was like, how you feel about it? I was like, it's cool, but, I kind of did both jobs at one time, so you got one person that just scores, and then you got another person that just passed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like, yeah, it's cool. And then I played point guard my first 2 years. My junior year was changed my stock. The seniors left, so they moved me to 2 guard. So I had to score more to help the team. And from there, I had 2 years of scoring and 2 years of passing the ball, so it was different. If I would have just did that my whole 4 years, it would have been interesting to see the outcome of that,
That's it. Like I said, that was special for you, man. I think that was the reason why you had the success you had, right?
Yeah.
You had 2 years of just focusing on,
just distributing the ball.
Yeah, and then you had another 2 years of doing something that you could do very well, right?
Yeah. But I was forced to it.
Yeah. So,
and that opened up my market, and that was kind of the wave of like the Kemba Walkers, the Napiers, and all. That's when that wave started coming. I remember playing the 1 and 2 and kind of being more explosive at both because I was able to shoot it and score, and when I wanted to, I could go to point. And it helped my stock because it gave them 2 different looks. I can play off the ball and still be able to dominate and knock down a shot, and then I can run a team. So it helped my stock a lot.
All right, man. So you got this nationwide media attention. The NBA is on your radar now. You come back for your senior season, and the season starts off. You get injured.
Yeah.
You're out for the season. Would you say that injury led to your misery, so to speak?
Oh man, I would definitely agree. I think I was never the same player ever again. That was my first injury ever in my life, and I think it came so sporadic, dude. I mean, obviously you can't. Achilles is one of the worst injuries, and I think, like I said, I was alone with me going through that experience by myself. Nobody at my bedside. I think it brought me back down to reality. It humbled me in the sense of, hey, you can be touched. I was fearless. I have been fearless my whole life, and just so happened, no matter what I did, life continued to go right. And so you're not conscious of what you're doing wrong and right or anything. You just live it. I think that put me at a standstill. I remember being down on that court and I was just punching the wood because my mind is saying, now I knew I was going to the NBA in a sense, and I'm just like, really, I get this far, dude, and it's like it was the most devastating thing for me because I got them to my left saying it's gonna be okay, but they don't know, man. I'm almost the savior from my family at this point, and my family don't know. I still got them in my heart, and I set out on this journey to change their lives. Also, I don't speak out loud, but that's my plan. You know,
Right.
even when I left at 16. So to see that come to an end at that moment, it felt like, man, it just felt like the roof collapsed and everything else went with it. It was like a fire inside of it, you know. And I sat in that locker room, man, and when she came in there and she rubbed my leg and she was like, "Your Achilles," and I just didn't know what I had no idea what was the plan after, you know. And like I say, um, I was there for basketball, and now I'm not able to do that. I had never lived life without playing at basketball, you know. So I had no idea what San Diego was going to offer me for its life, you know. Like, what do I do now? Not just gonna be sitting in class, you know. Like, it was tough on me, man. I remember the whole arena just kind of coming to a silence because I had been the engine for that city for a long time since Brandon Heath and them left, you know. And I was like, they could feel the game had completely changed. It was just like, wow, you know. And for me, it felt like that, like a dark cloud just came over the entire situation. And from there, things just start progressively going down, man. Just it was tough on me. You know, like I say, I think if I had support system, people calling saying it's gonna be okay, or somebody next to my bed when I'm getting this medical, um, it would have been a little bit better for us. My mental. I don't think we rehab from the injury. The mental part is the rehabilitation. I
Right.
think your body will do what your mind says, and once that goes here, it's gonna have an effect on how you recover. And I think I was so down from so many different standpoints where it hurt me in the long run just to recover. I remember getting all the way back healthy where I believed, and I would go up and jump, and I kept falling. I remember telling my trainer like, "Hey, something's wrong," and I find out probably 2 months before the season start, after all that work and getting back, that I had bone spurs, and so I had two surgeries in less than a year, in less than 10 months. So that was another blow for me, you know. So it was tough. It was tough. I think my mental change for as my time frame on what I had to do in order to get to the next level. And I remember we played Stanford when I came back from that injury. But that year of surgeries and you know just understanding, and obviously people see you different. They didn't see me as the best player in the city, you know, the best player in the state. You know, it was just different energies then. Like, oh, failure started to sink in my mind, you know. So it got interesting. I saw how people handle me to a certain extent. Some of the spark in people's eyes changed. You know, I had to deal with people not cheering no more, and that's a big question I ask people: what you do when they stop cheering? And you have to be your biggest fan. You have to be your biggest supporter, and you have to. Everything is a mental game for me since I started this journey. You know.
So man, you said something really good, man. You said you know, you don't really it's not really the rehabilitation you're trying to recover from. You know,
Yeah.
it's really the mental and psychological part when you have an injury of that nature.
Yeah.
Can you get back to the the mental toughness, the psyche that you had before you was injured? That's what you're really trying to build back up. You know,
Yeah.
because most athletes, they're gonna do the rehab, especially if they really hungry and want it. They're gonna do the rehab and get back healthy. But up here, right? Does your mind go back to where you,
Yeah.
yeah, does your mind go back to, to believing that you still can be the best, or that you're still really good at, at what it is that
Yeah.
you're
What you do?
doing?
Yeah.
So I mean, just talk a little about, so you was out that whole junior year. I mean, your whole senior year. What
My
your
whole
senior,
senior year.
you was out,
But this is how God worked.
you got a
God
medical red shirt, right?
medical, but they had changed the rule that year. So if I would have got hurt the next game, I would never got it. They
Oh,
changed it the year before that game. I would never got it, but just so happened they changed it. And during that time in the locker room, the doctor came up just like, "Man, we just looked it all over. You're gonna probably gonna be able to get your medical because they changed the rules." So that was a blessing. Just so happened, and through that year, man, I was separated from the team. Like I say, it was a mental strain on me because it was so many things that transpired. I had my hands on that team in that program, from the recruiting, from just being the guy that everybody got to train for. You know, I'm training all day, yet I'm holding people accountable. And that year, the fact that I wasn't healthy, I kind of separated myself. Not separating myself, I was doing my own personal therapy and
Yeah,
training.
yeah, you have to
Yeah.
read. Yeah,
And I wasn't able to be active with the team. I wasn't going out and things like that. And I had graduated. The things I was trying to accomplish, I had already accomplished. And now I just got to be here for a full year, which was tough because, like I said, I knew from my first day in 2005, I was there for basketball. So just to be here, just to enjoy the city, I don't think that was what I wanted to do. Obviously, I wanted to play. So I trained and rehab. That last year for me was tough because the people they brought in, it was new coaches. I just wasn't connected. It was frustrated also because when I came back, I wasn't the same player. And I knew I wasn't. I could feel I wasn't. Like I said, the rehab for my mind, confidence plays a lot. That takes you a long way. And for me, my confidence was down. I didn't feel like I was the best player. Certain moves I would make, I couldn't. I was basically, and then like I say, the bone spurs, I was rehabbing through the year now. I'm playing just because I have to play. I wasn't ready, and I'm forcing myself because I'm on the clock now. So it was definitely not how I wanted it to go, especially just being injured. Period, dude. Like the Achilles is just a really tough injury to come back from. And the year, it went accordingly, man. I was just there, and that's how I summed it up. I was just part of a team.
trying to
And
get it over with, man.
yeah, man, it was. I had so many moments where my character acted out. I had so many negative moments that year, man, and you can kind of add it up to see how certain things affected me once I get down the line because of that year. I was open. I was vulnerable. I think I was really emotional that year on so many different levels. I didn't like the player I was. I didn't like the man I was becoming. And also the fear of not going to get money, So graduating and not knowing if I'm still going to have a chance to play in the NBA or make money overseas or anything. I think the not knowing really frustrated me too. I have some days where I play good, and then I have 3 games where I don't, and then have to pace myself to a certain extent. So I just wasn't healthy, wasn't in shape, wasn't explosive. I didn't like almost the coaching staff. I didn't like my teammates at the moment. It was just a lot of negatives that I was challenged with, and I think it came from being alone, not having the support, and like I say, being vulnerable to so many different things.
So this your fifth year,
Mhm.
year eligibility. So this is the year where you get into the point shaving thing.
Right, right.
Talk a little bit about that, man. Like you're having this
So,
season where you're not really there.
so the point shave was interesting because it came from a close person that one of the coaches that I spoke on that helped me take me to Target. And that situation was interesting because of our relationship. I found out through the situation that he had encountered some things through his own personal life with some of the people that was in the case. But to be honest, the point shaving thing was basically discussed to a certain extent, but wasn't presented as go point shave. It was, hey, vouch for me. I know you. So some of the games I was injured. Um, the guy is not my coach now. They got fired my sophomore year. So if you wanted to go bet on games and you're like my brother, obviously our relationship is close. So when me and him are talking, he's allowed to bet on games, but I'm not knowing he's betting on games at this moment. I'm just talking to you saying, listen, I'm hurt. Probably I had a groin injury, probably not gonna play. And he went
Right.
back and bet on the games. I'm the best player.
He
So
was
obviously
he was using you as bait. He was gathering information.
right. But I'm not thinking because this is like my brother, like we're really close. Like me and this guy is close to this day. So at the same time, he's in the situation where he had to do something, but he didn't put me in the situation where like, hey, go point shake, go through a game. His common sense of understanding the conference and knowing basketball, you know what I'm saying? Like if Coach K left Duke and he watching a game, he's probably gonna know who's gonna win this game. If certain players not playing. If you wasn't playing a couple other people, you're probably gonna lose. And you're playing like Gonzaga or somebody who even if I play, it's still gonna be tough. So he's doing that, and so he's getting into it with the mafia. So he's like, listen, just come with me and vouch for me because what they're saying is this don't count because he didn't even play. You get what I'm saying? So when that happened, that was as far as the case went for me, where I go over there and yeah, he knows me. Like I'm close. I don't speak to nobody. I think I remember playing a video game. So I'm like, nah, I didn't point shade, and what down the line when they asked me, which I'll get into, but during that moment during college, when he talked to me, he's like, he gave me money saying, listen, you need a desktop. I told him I needed a desktop. He got me a desktop. So it's just like if your brother hit a lick, he gonna come get you some money, right? So it was more so on those lines where that's how the tone was set. So during that moment, I'm not knowing the level of this. I know I have knowledge, I understand what's going on, but I'm not understanding where they brought me in for is, hey, you point shade. So that year happens. That conversation takes place for probably about 30 minutes. I go over there, and as far as my level of point shaving went at that moment. So during that time, I graduate, the year finish up, I go to Phoenix Suns for summer league, then I go over to the Wizards. During the time of the Wizards, he calls me and speak on some more different things. So, but we're just talking. I'm a year removed from college. I'm with the Wizards, doing preseason, then I went over to
Okay, not to cut you off, B.
Mhm.
So things happen your senior year, right?
Right.
You was providing
It's done.
information. Yeah, you was providing information to a friend who was betting on games. Uh, a lot of stuff was transpiring that you had no idea about.
No idea.
Or you had no idea how high this went up.
No idea.
'Cause you
I do not know the details of this case
right.
to that extent. I understood, and I got knowledge of what point shaving is and all that, but point shaving is also the act to decide the outcome of a game.
So you like you said, you finished your college career.
Hmm.
You've moved on. Now you're pursuing your NBA dreams.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
actually playing.
I'm 1 foot in the door. I
You
end up
actually,
still getting the opportunity with the Phoenix Suns. Steve Kerr called me and talked to my agent. I end up getting the opportunity, thank God. And Dan Marley decided that I would be a good fit over there with the Wizards. He put a word in for me. I go work out with the Wizards, do some preseason, and I had a little bone on bone knee, which they brought me up through the D League from there. And I'm a year. Understand this happened 30 minutes of my life, my senior year. And now I'm 1 year removed from college.
so
Nothing's on my mind.
right. So I mean, you moved on like completely. Like
Completely.
you moved
Completely.
on. You're not thinking about San Diego. You
Right.
focus on the NBA. You have a different outlook probably because
Yeah.
you're close to your dream.
Yeah.
What
One
does
foot
the
in.
what does the date April 9th, 2011? What does that mean to you?
Oh man. Um it's so many words that I describe it as, dude. Yeah, I can't even put one word together. It's everything that you can think of that's wrong and bad and just it was just a moment where, man, April 9th, I go home, dude, and see my mom's and it I go see my mom's in Houston. She stayed on the north side in Jersey Village. And at this moment, I talk to my agent. They're saying, like, listen, you got a foot in the door. Just keep working. And I go home and see my mom's and tell them, hey, I'm almost there. And what's funny is, I go see her, and around that day go by, and 6 a.m. that morning, dude, on April 9th, and my life was taken. I felt like my life was taken away from me. It changed my life, put me in a complete circle, dude. Like, Tor, I lost everything. That is my apocalypse. You know what I'm saying? Like, it
Right.
was destructive. I lost everything. Everything I built was burned down that day. In less than seconds. At 6 a.m. that morning, I heard a loud noise from the front door. I go to the door. I look out the peephole, and right then I see FBI badges. I'm not thinking nothing of it because I know what I'm doing. I'm like, listen, I play ball. The last thing on my mind is me. And I open that door, and all of a sudden I see, numerous of FBI agents pointing their guns at me, screaming, "Get down, or I'll shoot." And as we know today, that says a lot, So um, the magnitude of me opening that door and my life changing in these past few years, it was dramatic. It was like a movie. It was like a movie scene, and it was so many so many officers. I remember my mom's coming out the back and just falling in the floor crying. And what was so crazy, like I said, I haven't had a real relationship with my mom for a long time. So when I come home, it was almost to see like karma or something, like to see my mom's in the living room crying, and the next day they carried her off, and now the next time I see my mom's, really, they're
Wow.
carrying me off. Yeah, ain't that crazy? So
Wow.
yeah, that was super impactful, and I'm a real calm person. Like I say, I've managed to mentally reach a capacity that I know a lot of people can't in the midst of that, and I think what kept me calm also, I'm not knowing what's going on. So I'll tell my mom, so I'm like, get up, this they have to be making a mistake because I have no idea what's going on, and yeah, it was.
So, so man, I mean, I'm pretty sure anybody, man, especially if you know you haven't, or you know
Yeah,
you haven't been doing anything
yeah,
recently, you know, of any magnitude that
yeah,
would warrant the FBI or the police period to be at your front door, you know, with guns drawn, saying get down.
yeah.
It's, I mean, definitely catch you by surprise, and it's probably hysterical. Just a lot of stuff going, a lot of emotions. When did you realize? How long did it take you to realize, like, oh shoot, like they really are here for me?
Um, So when they picked me up, man, I walked out. They had unmarked cars, and it was like 6 a.m. And I'm riding with the FBI agents, and we're just having regular conversations. It's no pressure. They took me out the handcuffs. I'm riding in the back seat with him, and the guy starts talking about basketball. And I figure, okay, you must know me. You know, he's like, man, you was killing in San Diego and all this conversation about me playing ball in San Diego. I never put two and two together. They was from San Diego, and so off 290. It's a FBI headquarters. You would never know. It's like a Batman cave. We went under the tunnel, and all of a sudden we're in the FBI headquarters. I'm like, man, I pass this up every day. So, also what clicked in my mind, they had to be there and watch me get in last night. You know, so we get to the FBI headquarters, still nothing. They're like, when you get there, we're gonna tell you. So they fingerprint me, they run me through all this, they ask me, do you want anything? Everybody's calm and I'm calm too. I'm like, I'm not a guy that panics. So
Yeah, you have
finally we
no
get to
idea.
the, yeah, I'm like, hey, I don't panic. You got to have facts for me. So I get to the interrogation room. We get back there and two of the cops and both of them sit across from me. And right then and there say, hey, listen, when we play this tape, you'll have a better understanding what's going on. And I'm like, all right, cool. And literally, dude, the dude reached over, pressed play on the tape, and immediately I heard my voice and a light went off. And I said, oh, man. And I just told him to stop it. And I told him, I said, listen, officer, this is not what you think. Because it's like if you say you was gonna rob a bank and your words, you didn't know your phone was tapped and your words was under a microscope. Just so happened that bank get robbed. They're gonna look at you and believe you robbed that. So it's like if I was sitting here and you talking noise with your friends and just so happened what you were saying was on recorded, you're not knowing, your words will be held against you.
Right.
And that's what was going to happen to me. So I'm talking noise with my coach and everything. And all of a sudden his phone was tapped and the case just expanded. So I'm not knowing the magnitude, like I said, of this case. I'm thinking it's just me and him. And I'm thinking like, okay, it's going to get cleaned up eventually. Man, they play their tape. They interrogated me forever. And what they was trying to live on is, did you point Shay? I'm like, nah. And I gave them a confession for like an hour, but I didn't know enough. So they got angry at me because I'm like, dude, I would say it. Like my life is on the line at this point. And I'm saying, listen, I don't know enough to give you anything. All I know is, me and the coach, but he's my coach. It's not illegal for him to bet on games. So you know what I'm saying? And the way they rushed us, they picked me up because they felt I was the centerpiece but I find out it's other people in the case. And I didn't know, and they took me down to the headquarters. And by 8 p.m. that night, I was in an orange jumpsuit, and I was in solitary in federal prison.
Wow.
You know?
Wow. So as things started, or as layers started getting peeled off for you, right? Uh, like how, I don't know, I don't even know the words to ask you, but like
the next morning.
How shocked were you to find out how much deep stuff you was like? You know what I'm saying? Like, cause you was a little fish, and they was
Yeah,
looking for.
yeah, it was mind blowing, dude. Because I'm sitting there at 8 p.m. that night, and I'm like, it's like I just left the Wizards. So you gotta understand, if you're in the field of negativity, you got it back of your mind, like eventually my time gonna come. I just got to get as much as I can out the game. And a lot of people that's out there doing wrong, most of it, if you're not smart, that's how you should think. And you gotta, understand. Like at the end of the day, eventually it's gonna come to the light.
Yeah,
And
everything has an expiration date.
right, I'm not in that world. So it's like if somebody knocked on your door right now, take you out, you're gonna be in complete shock. And that would happen to me. I had been going through a world of I've been so far away from anything wrong that they're just picking me up. And I'm just like, whoa. So by 8 p.m. that night, I'm sitting in silence and I'm like, is this serious? Like I'm in complete shock. I remember tucking the cover over the orange outfit because I didn't want to face my reality. I was just in shock. I was like, dude, am I really in prison, federal prison right now? And then I knew, I don't know what happens when you point shave, but I knew they had me down for point shave. And I'm like, are they taking, like I just don't know. And I don't know the system that well to understand what's going on. So that night passed. And about 7 a.m. that morning, the guard knocks on the door. And he's like, you want breakfast or anything? Because they slide a little tray under the door. It was like, no. He's like, well, I think you should see this. He slides the newspaper on the door. And that morning at 6 a.m. changed my life. But this when I knew my life was over. And they slid the paper on the door. And biggest day, it was USA Today, a picture of me. And that's when I knew this was out of my control. Then I just had to pray. And I prayed to God that whatever happened from that point, it's in your judgment, because it had an unlimited amount of information on it that I had never heard of and never seen in my life. And I found out it was 10 people in my case, and they was from the mafia. Wow. And that was the moment I was just like, oh wow. I remember hearing the next day one of the guys in the case had a standoff with the SWAT team. I was just like, what is going on? And I remember sitting there like 7 days, and it was just, dude, I remember vividly like the moments of there, just like God released me. Like it was the hardest 7 days of my life. Like I just watched my life be taken away from me every day. Every day that God came in there, he was telling me of what's going on. And he would just let me know, like, hey, just keep praying, because it got really bad. It ran on ESPN for like 3 months, So during the course of that time, dude, it was to sit somewhere and you don't really know, and you're watching your life unfold while you're sitting in prison. And because I really had no idea who was in my case, who was involved. And even when I went to the courtroom and everybody walked in, I only knew one person, So it was one of the most mind-blowing events in my whole life,
Man, so you just a guy caught up, in a bad decision, and unknowingly, right? You was going through some things at the time. You're a year removed from that situation. Like, this you put that out of sight, out of mind. You've moved on, and you looking forward to bettering yourself in your life and having the opportunity to fulfill a dream. That dream gets denied, so to speak. Based on what happened with the scandal and the case, and you going to prison, federal prison. How much time did you have to spend? How many?
I did 6 months, and then I was down for 15 months. And the way God worked, man, I get to the courtroom, and it was people from USD and over the country wrote character letters. And that's when the judge, I think, kind of realized like he's not a menace to society, as what everyone was saying. And from there, man, it was just, he reduced me down to 6 months and a year probation.
So you do your 6 months, you suffer your consequences, and you do your time. You get out of federal prison, man. Can you talk a little bit about just, kind of your experience being a young man? who's really not, you're not a criminal though. You wasn't like you're not you wasn't a criminal. You're in prison and trying to figure out like
it was crazy because it's like I said, it's confusing sometimes because I'm just like, man, I really gave my life to the prison system, and I don't reflect that as of now, So for me, that journey through that situation, it was a blessing in disguise because it gave me rest. It gave me time to repair my whole mental, and I think that I needed it because I had been going since 16, and I never rested. I never reflected. And I remember sitting in the backyard with my father, and we were sitting there talking, and he asked me, and I just told him. He said, "How you feeling?" I said, "I'm tired," but I was excited to get my life back. I had been fighting that case for 2.5 years. I sat out of basketball almost 3.5 years. I went from doing that my whole life to sitting out 3.5 years, and he was asking me how I felt. I was just excited to get my life back. And so when I went to prison, I had fun. Because it was a first moment for me when I was able to take all that off, and I was able to breathe without any family around me. And so I went in there with a mindset of get better. And say if we was in quarantine, that was my pandemic, and I was excited. Yeah, I had fun in prison. I was excited. I had fun. I had a blast. Prison was probably the most amazing thing for me because it gave me time to repair myself. I lost a lot. God brought a lot of things to a head from my family. I did get them back through that case. My son, I was able to be a father to him. Certain things. And I tell people when during that storm, man, you got to focus on what you're really trying to get your attention. And during those years of me not playing, I would never sit down and really focus with my son that I had. I was chasing something. And that taught me a lot about life. And the moment I stopped chasing things and started leading, my life has been amazing because I'm not putting certain things before him, and I'm not putting certain things before the balance of the life that I have, So I was able to be a father to my son during those years, take him to little practices and meetings and teacher-parent meetings, and all the little things that I missed out. I was gonna miss out on chasing that dream, and then my mom and my dad and all my family members that I left at 16, I was able to get them back. So it was some positives that happened, through that storm. And like I said, when I got out of prison, I was rebuilt. I was a way better person. I understood certain things about myself, my character. And I think what a lot of people miss out is it's about who you are through that storm. Everybody has a certain character through the good times. And you would never know I was going through what I was going through, and I was still smiling. I was still upbeat, positive, and that taught me a lot about myself. And I took that experience and I've used it through my journey. So when I got to prison, I had some tough times through there. For as my first initial, when I first got to solitary there, they put me in solitary, and I wasn't supposed to be there, and they end up letting me out later. But through that process, I learned a lot about who I am, just having the time to think, and that experience, like I say, overall it was a blessing. I wouldn't wish it on no one, but it taught me a lot, and it gave me an insight in a world that I'm able to connect with other people that I know a lot of people can't.
Man, I don't even know if you realize how we started this conversation when I asked you about how you and your family been doing during the pandemic, how you been holding up. And you said something very similar to what you just said about your prison sentence.
Yeah.
Like it was needed.
Yeah.
I've been able to rest and try to repair and and restore some things in my life and refocus on some things. Man, that's crazy that you just said that about your experience some years ago when you got sentenced to prison. You got but like I said, man, like bro, yeah, like I said, man, every time I hear you on social media, share a piece of your story, whether it be through whatever, a radio interview, your speaking engagement tour that you had going on before the pandemic, man, literally, I would hit you sometimes like, yo,
yeah, that's dope. Bro, that means the world to me right there,
bro. Like, keep doing it, man. You have a powerful testimony. Keep sharing it, man, and God is continuing to open up doors for you. Your story is amazing, and we're not finished with it yet. We're about to wrap it up though, but we're not finished with it yet. So you say that was a great time for you to have to go away,
Yeah. I played basketball in there too. I won the
Court.
championship.
So you was kind of able to rehabilitate yourself with the time you had to yourself to reflect and think on
Yeah,
some
yeah,
things,
gather my
like,
thoughts.
right? And once you got out, you had time to to reconnect with family and restore a relationship with your son and build a better relationship with with your son and your family. So you're how many years removed from playing basketball at this time?
3.5, man. 3.5. I set out of basketball. And I try to tell people, man, it's like killing an officer trying to get back on the force. It just don't happen. And point shaving is definitely the number one negative in sports. So when I got out, man, it was a journey. You know what I'm saying? So
So talk a little bit about just the the label and the stigma that was on you now that you're out.
um, man, it was interesting. I'll go back. Just 'cause I want to talk about prepping for anyone that's listening, prepping for your opportunity. Through that time, man, I went. Miss Yuri, Coach Yuri's wife was a lawyer, and I
Yes,
went
sir.
her. I
Yeah.
went to her 2 months after I got out of when they first picked me up, and I went to her, and with her, it's like having a little baby in there. I'm like, felt like I was 12, so I tell her. She said, "Tell me what's going on." And I told her, and she said, "You're gonna go to prison." So understand, 2 months into this 3.5 years sit out, I knew I was going to prison. And when I say I was so locked in prepping for my opportunity, I was still getting up 6 a.m. for Lucas, 12 p.m. with Lucas, 5 p.m. with Lucas. I was prepping the whole time for when I get out. And so when that time came, when I got to prison, reason why I was excited also because I knew I was training and I was getting better. I got to prison, I set out one day, and the next day I woke up. I rested the first day. The next day I woke up. I trained 3 times a day, prepping for basketball. 'Cause I was gonna give myself 6 months to get an opportunity. So when the time came and I was let out of prison, um, it was a moment for me. And I can tell you, ESPN picked me up the day I was let out of prison. I rode around with them for 3 days, ESPN the magazine, and I rode around with them of Houston for 3 days, and we did a whole story on me. And from there, man, I was interested to see how it go because life has completely been stripped from me. I'm starting from ground zero, and a lot of people don't know how I didn't get no check. Like I didn't get the check of the NBA to support myself. So I'm literally starting like I was in 16 years old in poverty. So to start trying to rebuild your life on top of nobody's looking at me as if I'm 12 still, though. They still expecting the same person to come out, the NBA and all that. And I'm like, hey, I've just been hit with tons of bricks, like give me a chance. And when I got out, man, God just continued to work. I got back going. I started prepping again, and the ability to get overseas became a task, like I say, because that's the worst thing you can do in sports. I had a FaceTime, a Skype with a lot of coaches at the next level because if you Google me, it's so many negative things on me, so many negative labels that saying you this, you that. So in order to get someone to believe in me, man, it took God to move mountains. I lost a lot of contracts, a lot of big deals because if you Google me, if you don't speak to me first, you won't know who I am. If you Google me, it look like I'm a menace to society. So you don't want to take that chance, especially with overseas. A lot of that's dictated by sponsors and fans and things like that. So when I would get an opportunity, they would just call it off because I know it's a higher power making decisions than them, than not coaches. So
Right.
it was tough, man. It was tough through the process. I'm still trying to tell people you're gonna play basketball because now my mom don't believe me. The mother of my child don't have confidence in me. I'm a failure in a lot of people's eyes, and to deal with that kind of energy, it was tough. And that's why I try to explain to people, man, the mental game is so important. The meditation side of things, and if I don't have that moment in prison, just say if they didn't give me time, I had to get right back to it. I think I would have struggled because I wouldn't been able to delete a lot of different things. But prison had gave me the ability to restore my energy and delete a lot of different things that had transpired. And it gave me the ability to go out there and push again for one more last round. And I took the labels off me. And I just focused on building my life back again. And I really separated myself from anything negative. And I changed my complete thought process and thinking from a lot of people that I know.
So uh, you get out of prison, man. Like I said, you got to start from ground zero based on
Mhm.
the labels that's been put in you, based on the time you missed. Also,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
finally
3.5 years of the game.
3.5 years off from playing basketball when you was just oh so close. You know, but you finally, after 3.5 years, you finally get the opportunity, and you build up enough trust in a team to give you a contract, and you go play in Venezuela, right? Was
Yeah,
that
well, Germany. I went Germany. I went to Lebanon for about 2 months, and then my first opportunity in Europe was in Germany with this coach named Coach Morris, and he took a chance on me, man. And then that summer, after I left Germany, I went straight to Venezuela. So it was like one jam. But I also took a push back at the NBA, and I went to Miami, and Miami wanted to bring me in, and Corey Bells and David Fitzgerald is from my college, so they gave me an opportunity to work out with Miami. Miami came to a workout. They had just played the Warriors, and I didn't know Eric Spoelstra and those guys gonna be there. I have a crazy workout. Eric Spoelstra pulls me out of the interview because it was so early in the morning and says, "Listen, we want to bring you in for a personal workout." And I worked out with the other guys, Mario Chalmers and all those guys. I have a great workout, and they want to talk about an opportunity. And then I remember playing with an ABA team during the time of that, and my Corey called me and said, "Listen, we talked to the commissioner, and he told us zero tolerance for what you did." And it was like the feds picking me up again that morning,
wow,
because I think that was my window of them basically saying, "We probably won't let you back in the NBA."
wow.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you still was able to restore your professional career.
Hmm.
Through, like you said, God opened some doors and made some opportunities available, man, and moved some mountains for you, cleared you, basically cleared your name,
Yeah.
uh, allowed you to, to have offers and opportunities to go play overseas.
Hmm.
You, in 2014, you got, like I said, you got your chance in Lebanon.
Yeah.
You've been a professional ever since.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've been
Yeah.
playing
And
pro
it's
ball ever since.
yeah, and it's crazy, man. Like I say, I never thought. I remember coming down the court and I heard the crowd screaming, and I was just let out of prison. So it was just like it was a moment. If anybody ever speak on like living in the moment, that was a moment I took in. I remember almost getting a 10-second count because I just couldn't believe the journey I had been through in those 3.5 years after going through fighting for my life, sitting in prison, playing basketball on the yard and going through all this experience. And now I'm walking up court in the game, tired, and I got the last shot, and I see the crowd screaming. I'm just like, I was more fascinated in the moment because I knew none of these people in the country or nobody knew what I was experiencing, what I went through. And now I'm at this moment where this crowd is going crazy, and I got the ball for the last shot, and this is my first game back in basketball. And I was just like, God, you couldn't have did it more better. I don't remember the shot. I don't even know what happened. I just remember coming up that court and I was just smiling. And I was just like, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I haven't played pro in years, and this is the moment I get for my first game. And I knew right then and there, it was like, I'm back. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Right.
I've been in the last 7 years, man, playing pro ball. And when I tell the story of the journey I went through, the hard work, the hours, the man, it's if I had videotape of it, it'd be historical. I promise
Man, look, they need a brand new story
you.
documentary. You need your, I mean, you need your own documentary, bro.
Yeah, yeah, we working, man. We
Yeah.
work, we
But
working.
so, man, I want to talk to you a little bit about this, and then we'll wrap up with
Mhm.
where you're at now in life. But you've been to some pretty interesting and dope countries, man.
Yeah, yeah,
What was your favorite? Out of, you've been to Lebanon, Germany, Venezuela, Croatia, Montenegro. Like
yeah,
those some pretty dope places, in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
don't know, it could be different because you actually had to live there, but
Yeah, yeah, nah. Croatia. Croatia by far. I told my agent, I cursed my agent out. I said, dude, why you never told me about this place? Because Croatia was love. I went to Split, Zagreb, but they have like a yacht week out there American week for yacht. It's like yacht week, and you travel all these islands, and it's beautiful. And just the lifestyle was good. And obviously, you want to go where you loved. And I think I think that was the year that elevated me from like to next level, where I start really being financially stable. Once I went there, I started getting big contracts. I had a great year, but that kind of propelled me to the next level where, Mishko and all those kind of agents start coming out for me. And I went to Hungary and those kind of places to keep elevating my game. I used to have to do 3-month contracts. I do an open contract because I knew I was better than the levels I was going to. So I wanted to leave and doing that December, January moment. And from there, man, Croatia gave me everything I was looking for. The coach was amazing. The team was fun. It allowed me to really showcase my talent. And then the city was beautiful. I had an amazing time, way, way long time ago. But it was cool though. It was cool.
Yeah, don't get yourself in trouble.
Long with Bernie Mac say long time ago. No, but it was Croatia definitely was the best city I've been to from basketball standpoint, and just life. Obviously, Kukoc and them come from there too. So
Yeah,
basketball is definitely big time.
That's why I wanted to bring it up just to see what was your favorite stop along the way, because I mean I've heard that Croatia's
Oh man,
cool country, and the fans are crazy there. Like the fans are like none other there.
Yeah.
Definitely want.
It's love there though.
Yeah. So, all right, man. So when did you? So now, BJ, you're older now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You still have some years.
I'm cool, bro.
I'm just saying. I didn't say you. Oh, see, that's. I didn't say you.
Playing the beard might throw you off, but I'm big homie, little homie, but I'm big homie.
Yeah. That's what. So you're older now.
Yeah.
You're doing some things outside of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get into? You're now a motivational speaker,
right?
And you were just recently. You had a speaking tour that you were on before the pandemic. How did that come about?
Man, I actually built a network where I talked to Stephen Bardo. He does some ESPN analyst stuff, and he actually did one of my games in college. I spoke to him. He said something on TV saying I was from Fifth Ward, and I had to check him. I went up to him during a conference turn. I was like, "Hey, my people heard you repping me from another city. Let me get you right." And that was the most the conversation went. I was like, "I ain't from Fifth Ward." He was like, "All right." So the next night he kind of fixed it. And that little piece right there, and I say that's how God worked, because down the line I saw him doing some stuff with the youth. And I was in China. I said, "Hey, Steve, I would love to kind of get in that position to help the youth, just kind of motivate them, everything." And I want to speak to the NCAA and everything like that. I know he did some stuff for college. So he reached out to Jeremy McCool, and Jeremy McCool, I sent him a message. He was like, "Hey, they have a symposium where they speak to a lot of the top players in the country about all different topics." So for about a year, he didn't speak, and I was in China playing, and all of a sudden he reached out and said, "Hey man, we got this event in September. Would you want to come and speak?" It was Cherokee Parks, matter of fact, from Duke. He was there, and Eddie Gill was there, and we spoke on the symposium. I was super nervous because I had never spoke on my case out loud. They had Zion and all these dudes there. Gonzaga was supposed to be there, top 25 players and a couple schools there. So I was super nervous. I get there, and they got the whole setup in Indianapolis, and I flew in from China, and I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. So that was my first time ever sitting in front of a crowd telling my story. And once I spoke to the colleges and some of the NBA players that was there and the NCAA staff, when I got off the podium, they was just so amazed by my story. And I had no idea. I always thought about helping universities so other kids don't go through my situation with point shaving. But they turned it from there that day. They just kind of opened it up to way more than what I thought I had in mind. And God started reaching out to other people and wanted to tell my story for perseverance, for motivation, to inspire, to help the youth, to help be a youth advocate, to help mentor, and all those kind of things start opening up. And then it inspired so many people that day at the NCAA where they start working in my favor. Like I said, I thought I was just going to do colleges and student athletes, but it opened up to just reaching out to parents and regular students. And it's just been a true blessing, man. It's kind of like my vent session. It's been therapeutic to me. But man, it's been all God. I had no idea it would reach that level in less than a year. In a year, I remember it being on 97.9, 93.7 The Beat, so many big time platforms in our city, and then just going to Oklahoma University, Louisville, all kind of schools, just transpiring just from that point shaving case. People
You
want to hear.
actually, not to cut you off, but you actually spoke at the FBI headquarters. Am I
Yeah,
correct?
no, I spoke with the FBI. So in Louisville, I was speaking, and the FBI wanted to coordinate with me. And this is how God worked, dude. I've watched everything that said I wasn't, and everybody that said I couldn't, and all those things. I've partnered up with, or I've reached a certain goal, and that meaning playing basketball again. The same people that took me to prison, I spoke with them. They called me and wanted me to be part of their team. And when I spoke with them, I remember the problem is it's a difference between a PowerPoint and experience. And my nonprofit right now, which I'll speak on later, is educating through experiences. And I watched those kids' reaction when the FBI spoke, and they was laid back like whatever. And then when I got up there and said they're talking about me, the room changed. Because I'm educating these kids through my experience. So the FBI was super dope, man. They showed love. They wanted me to team up with them. But the pandemic and all that happened, and a lot of schools don't allow you to come out till March because all the seasons are going on. So after March, all the universities want you to come out and speak. So it's been a blessing. It's transpired over to talking to the youth. The fact that I was homeless for a few years, I'm able to talk to those kids, connect with them. It's so many different backgrounds, spoken at churches, just troubled youth. I talked to some kids that go into alternative schools and things like that, just to let them know, man, listen, that decision don't define your future. You can still be great. It's just a mistake. Don't let it be the outcome of your entire life. And that's what I've been pushing, man. And that motivational speaking, I didn't believe in it at first. I thought it was just something I was doing. But after a while, it's became, if you watch my IG name, I went from I am Brandon Johnson to I am BJ, the basketball speaker. And that was me. That was big for me because I was transitioning to really owning who my new character is. And that's, I play basketball, but I am officially, and I take pride in, really mentoring and being a public speaker now.
That's extremely proud of you, bro. Like you've come a long way. You've been through some things that
Been fun.
most people don't even, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
won't even experience, and you persevered, man. You've held strong. You become a better person, a better man, a better father, right?
Yeah, that's my
And,
main goal right now.
yeah, right. And you're still going, right? And you're still going. So talk a little bit about, and I'm gonna let you go. Talk a little bit about your nonprofit, man.
My nonprofit, man, derived from just some of my struggles, my experience, like I said, with my teachers. I call it no script. Because I think life is unexpected blessings. I believe we can't script this. I found that out completely. I had no idea how this was going to go. And that's how I've lived since 16. When I left my dad, I had no idea how this is going to go. And you can still be successful. And I tell some people, I'm thinking about starting a line called 2 + 3 = 6. And it don't, but sometimes it's not going to add up the same way. Everybody's life is not going to add up. 2 + 2 is not going to add up to 4 every time, but you still can be successful. So 2 + 3 might be 6 in my life, but I'm still it still got me successful. It's not gonna go according every time. It's not gonna add up the way you think in your mind. And life goes
path is different.
right. And that experience and that journey for me, I'm thankful to, and I'm grateful to be able to have some success at what I do now. But I can tell you one thing: it wasn't no 1 + 1 = 2. It was a lot of different equation and calculations, but it still got me out to. It's still in my life it equals 2 + 2 = 5. But I've been able to manage success like that, and that no script concept is for everyone that's trying to script life. Sometimes it's not gonna go accordingly. Sometimes it's not gonna go how you plan, but it's okay. You still can create